Dragon Shield sleeves are only $7.99 on flipsidegaming.com right now. And if you use the promo code CGB at checkout, you will save 10% and support the channel at the same time. So remember to use the promo code CGB. Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today we're looking at Wyatt Darby's Esper Midrange deck. Wyatt Darby is a Pro Tour champion. He had one of the finest moments in Pro Tour Finals history, possibly one of the most epic top decks of all, drawing a Glorybringer, the mighty Hasty Dragon, at the crucial time to win the game. Maybe I'll remember to link that in the description. It's definitely one of the best Magic top decks of all time. And he also has begun streaming. He has a very popular stream on Twitch. And we're going to be trying a dual format video today. I'm going to first show you some matches in best of 3, and then I'm going to show you some games in best of 1. And we're going to adapt the deck in between for those best of 1 games. Because the comment I get no matter what video I make, if I make a best of 3 video, I want a best of 1 list. If I make a best of 1 video, it's best of 3 sideboard stuff, and so on and so forth. There is not, I would say, a divide in the community, but there is a demand to get a deck list and content catered to the format that you play most. And people do very much enjoy best of 1, and people do very much enjoy best of 3. And not many players do both. I'm going to try to be that player for you, and we'll see how that goes. Let me know in comments what you think. So, getting into this is your best of 3 list. The cards in the deck. Okay, Hero of Precinct 1 with all these multicolored spells to make a whole bunch of tokens is pretty freaking awesome. Thought Erasure is a key card to the deck, letting you pick apart your opponent's strategy so that your hero or your thief live, or your Lyra can do cleanup, or your hostage taker gets to actually take something and cast it. So Thought Erasure, very key. I think that the deck is missing another 2-cost play, and that's why you have 4 Discovery Dispersals, just to try to set up the draw a little bit. The deck does come off as a bit slow against very aggressive strategies, which is why this list is for sure better in best of 3, and best of 1 is very, very aggressive. So we will have a task to do when we come to that, of making the deck a little bit lower to the ground, a little bit more aggro meta ready, because this current version only does one thing to the board before turn 3, and that is Hero of Precinct 1. These cards don't affect the board. But moving right into it, once you get into the 3 drops, you get much more power. Deputy of Detention and Thief of Sanity, for example. Dovin Grand Arbiter also makes the deck, just as a way to put some Thopters and put some pressure on the opponent. Mortify, the best removal spell right now for these colors, because tagging enchantments matters so much. Wilderness Reclamation must die. Experimental Frenzy must die. Conclave Tribunal, History of Benalia, Legion's Landing are all things that, depending on the situation, should probably die. So Mortify is definitely holding its own here. Seraph of the Scales and Basilica Bellhaunt are some great 4-drop threats. Seraph is pretty sticky unless there's exile effects, and it's an angel, which combos with your 5-drop, Lyra Dawnbringer. Basilica Bellhaunt is rock solid against red and anything aggressive, while still being decent value for midrange. And it is the hammer against red decks, so when we get to our best of 1 version, we'll definitely be building more around Basilica Bellhaunt, whereas this version, best of 3, is built really around Hero Precinct 1 and Thief of Sanity. Hostage Taker shows up, takes things, lets you play them again, can take your own things. Really bizarre, not that flavorful, but say you have an empty Deputy of Detention that hits some spells, you can put that under Hostage Taker and recast it. Basilica Bellhaunt is a good one to recast. And of course, Lyra, showing up to save the day and hopefully shut the door on decks that are trying to spar in combat or have had all their removal exhausted by these threats that require removal. You have to kill the Precinct 1. You have to kill the Thief of Sanity. You have to kill the Deputy of Detention. Thought Erasure goes to your hand. So just because they can remove it doesn't mean that they can remove it. See what I'm saying? The mana base is a whole bunch of check lands, a single basic land, and 3 Hallowed Fountains, along with 4 Godless Shrines and 4 Watery Graves. I think that the Hallowed Fountain is a nod to you only need single blue. I mean, you need double white and double black to cast the Bellhaunt, but you only need single blue in the rest of the deck entirely. So let's talk about the sideboard a little bit. The Basilica Bellhaunt comes in against red and possibly against other aggressive strategies. Duress comes in against blue, mono blue aggro, Izzet Drakes, Bant Nexus, and Esper Control. Pretty much anywhere where you need even more hand disruption than Thought Erasure already provides. So just any time that you're worried about counter spells of any kind out of the sideboard, if it has blue in it, you're probably bringing in Duress. Next on the list is Disdainful Stroke. Disdainful Stroke comes in against anything that casts bigger spells. Now that seems obvious enough, but where you want that most is decks like Esper Control. Do not bring it in against Izzet Drakes, even if they have Crackling Drake. The dream of tagging a Crackling Drake is probably not worth the spot there. Sultai midrange, Golgari midrange, that is definitely a place for Disdainful Stroke. Get that Vivian before it does nasty things to you. So those would be the main candidates for that, Esper Control and Sultai midrange. Next up is Negate. I would bring Negate in against anything that isn't very aggressive, with one exception, and that is red. Mono red, you do need to counter Experimental Frenzy, you do need to counter even cards like Light Up the Stage, and you need to counter burn spells to interact with them with spells on the stack, because that is where their burn spells kill you. So Negate comes in against red. Don't bring it in against mono blue, mono white. Don't bring it in against Drakes, but do bring it in against Sultai, do bring it in against Esper Control, things like that, and do give it the nod against mono red. Next up, we have some cheap removal in Cast Down and Moment of Craving, and they're basically very similar effects doing almost the same thing. You want to bring them in against the aggressive creature strategies. Red, blue, white. Cast Down can come in against Drakes where Moment of Craving shouldn't, unless you see them running the Electromancer version, which I haven't seen in a very long time. So that's sort of why you have a split there. Cast Down can come in against Drakes. Moment of Craving comes in against anything aggressive. Consecrate Consume. This comes in for Carnage Tyrant. So where you see Carnage Tyrant, and possibly where you see a, what is the card I'm thinking of? Chromium, you may want to grab Consecrate Consume and add it to that. The front side Consecrate is just an interesting cantrip. I don't know exactly what matchup this applies to, but there might be matchups where you have too many bad cards in your deck that you wish to take out, and Consecrate Consume can replace them with a cantrip, I guess. I haven't personally seen that or had that come up. Vraska's Contempt, this comes in against Sultai for certain. You can also bring it in against Drakes and Esper Control if they are running, if their plan is kill you with Teferi, which post board they usually bring in more threats to Esper Control, but if the deck relies extremely heavily on Teferi, the Vraska's Contempts can come in. It's unclear if you want this against Bant Nexus anymore. They are moving away from Teferi. A list that recently did well only had 2, and I've had many games where the Bant Wilderness Reclamation player just was going off with their Wilderness Reclamation, their Kanta, and my Vraska's Contempt sat in my hand and never helped me. So that is something I'm currently keeping an eye on. And then Eldest Reborn, similarly, you want that against Sultai, and you want the Eldest Reborn against Esper Control. I don't believe that you want it against Nexus, and I don't believe you want it against any of the slower matchups. This is also very good against Drakes when they shift to a Niv Mizzet plan. So when it comes on what to take out, you just have to know what role every card plays. Deputy of Detention, for example, definitely should not be in against an Esper Control list. Should it be in against a red list? Possibly. When it takes a permanent off the board, the red deck would have to kill it to get the permanent back, so it can absorb lightning bolts and such, and it isn't as bad as it looks. Thief of Sanity is also not a card I usually like against red, but since they're usually on the burn you plan, Thief eats a lightning bolt. Sometimes that's just what you need it to do, to absorb those lightning bolts. So identifying where your cards are good and where they're bad. Dovin is good against slower decks and pretty rough against very aggressive decks despite the life gain. Hostage Taker is very rough when it can't find a target, so pulling it out against Esper is a good idea, keeping it in against Sultai is a good idea. Lyra is bad when she dies without creating any meaningful effect. Sultai kills her no problem and Esper kills her no problem, so she's a cut in that situation. The card that you probably don't cut in any matchup is probably Thought Erasure. It's also hard to cut the heroes, but there are places where they're not that good, and they simply die on the battlefield, so keep an eye on that. If you have to shift into a full control type deck, then hero might be something that you need to trim. But Thought Erasure, I think this is the card of the deck. I wouldn't cut it against pretty much anything. Alright, let's go play some best of 3 games. Great hand, but 1 land. Yeah, enough of that. All right. I thought I was in best of 1 for a second. I was going to just concede the game, but I'm in best of 3. I'm in best of 3. I can recover. Opponent with a turn 1 Blood Crypt. I wonder, what am I up against? Turn 2 Discovery off the Blood Crypt. Is this Drake's? Jake's and Sultai, Sultai and Drake's. That's been my experience in best of 3 so far. So, let's make them have it, whatever it might be. Yep, pointing stuff at the thief. Good idea. Do we have something for the hero too? We have a Pteramander. Alright. Yeah, let's pick at the hand before we commit Dovin here. Enigma Drake and 2 more Pteramanders. Let's take the Enigma Drake away. Leave our opponent with a bunch of 1/1s. We don't have a land for this, so it goes to the bin. Send in the clowns. Opponent with an awkward draw, too many red sources. I'm sure that they have more red sources than they wish they had. Let's see if Opt can fix it up for them. They find another blue source, but more land is also really awkward right now. And they found a shock. It's a good turn. It's a really good turn. Alright. We can Thought Erase the last Pteramander if we like. Our opponent with already 4 spells, which means that they can adapt one of these like next turn. I think I'm best off trying to find some answers. 2 land and need at least 1. Alright, Lyra on top. I'll need the land for it. God, I was wondering when I binned that other land, I'm like, do I keep that? But if the opponent can't remove this, it's one way we can get in the game. We have to draw Lyra, make a Thopter, chump block, then draw land, play Lyra. That 5-card mulligan. Alright, here we go.
It's hard to be a genius surrounded by lesser minds.
Crucial turn, how good can you draw it? They kept it what I would call a super awkward hand and have done nothing but draw their way right through it. Alright, Thopter in front. And a chart, of course. Okay. Them Drakes, we drew the land. We did that. I think I keep up the Thopter train.
You're doing me a favor.
Here's Lyra. Down to 9. Enigma Drake. Oh boy. Deputy of Detention. You're telling me there's a chance? Let's see what happens first. Because we may still need that Thopter. No dive down. Let's plus then.
This is no mere trinket.
Our opponent's at 9. They could take all this. I think that saving a Thopter is kind of prudent. We go up to 11. That's only a 5-power Drake. If it's going to chump anyway, why not take it on the life total, right? Well, I do need to defend Dovin. Alright. In with this team. The 1/1s aren't doing much anyway. Let's pile up some Dovin loyalty. Alright, big turn. Did we pull through? Dispersal. Bounce and discard my Lyra. Oh no. But it's still really close and the opponent has to stay on defense. We can get them to 1 by God, and they're out of cards.
This is just a small example of my genius.
Let's see, do I keep playing this out? There's like no reason to hold it other than a bluff that the opponent can't play around anyway, so they'll know it's a land if they're smart. And we might need it. We might still be able to like discovery, dispersal, double spell stuff. Oh no, they top decked the lava coil. My God. I needed, if they attack with this Enigma Drake, I can draw another deputy and get there. I can do that. Going face. I'm going to go with no blocks. Sheer optimism. Fail.
I stand on the shoulders of giants.
We can't attack. The Terramanders are going to grow for just 1 mana. Still keeping the 2 Terramanders on defense despite seeing the Deputy of Detention. That's really bizarre to me. Alright, Thopter up.
You're doing me a favor.
Thopter up again.
Let's add this battle to your record of bad decisions.
Alright, your go. They're drawing a lot of land too. There's the Deputy. We stole it. We stole a mold of 5. Alright, so Hero Precinct 1 is pretty darn weak against Drakes, making little tokens and giving an easy shock target that, I mean, they don't fly. Drakes is all about the skies, so we're going to cut that. Dovin, I love you. You kind of bailed me out there, but you are coming out because you are also pretty hard to defend. Making 1/1s when all of the opposing stuff flies isn't usually what's going to get us there. And Bellhaunt, you also are too focused on being on the ground and don't kill things, so you can go. What can come in are the negates, the duress, the cast down, Vraska's Contempt, Eldest Reborn, and Consecrate Consume all do a good job. So what else? It looks like I still need to trim a little bit more. A little bit more. I actually think I can pull Negate. It might be too reactive. I'm just going to focus completely on killing their stuff. Negate would probably just trade with a Chart, of course. At best case, it could counter a Beacon Bolt or something like that, but yeah, I think we're just going to pull Negate right back out. I'm still going to hang on to Duress, though. I think I'm just going to try to hit a few key spells like the Dive Down. Negating a Dive Down is a lot harder than dressing a Dive Down, just because of the mana. All right, let's roll. Duress and some Angel stuff. Okay. So I want that Chart, of course, if my opponent has it. Not want to let them have that dream draw of Pteramander into Chart, of course. No. Our opponent brought in Cannonade, which is... I guess it's good against Thief of Sanity. It's probably with Hero of Precinct 1 in mind, but that is in our sideboard now. Discovery finds a card. Pteramander gets to work. Ooh, we're going to be erasing a lot of thoughts before doing our Lyra train. So I'm going to take Opt away and keep the land. Just try to keep the opponent from sifting through that deck. And they drew a Chart, of course. I do my best here, guys. I do my best. All right. Let's see what you found. All right. I will take away... Do I let my opponent have double shock? Yeah, I'll take away the Cannonade because it can kill both tokens left over from the Seraph. But I guess 4 mana to remove the Seraph. Well, it would have 4 toughness with the Lyra. Just thinking, just thinking. Yeah, I think I'll keep my opponent's cards. Plus, if they cast Cannonade before evolving the Pteramanders, they kill their own Pteramanders. So yeah, we take a shock. Another Lyra, yes. Yes, indeed. Spells in graveyard, 5. So Pteramander can evolve here. Get beefy. They're so good at just ripping these cantrips and fixing their draw every step of the way. All right. Down to 11. It is basically their deck, I know. Kind of silly for me to hope that they draw bricks in a deck designed not to draw bricks. But that's one of the things that makes Drake such a tough opponent. Here's a Seraph. Yep. That's okay. They used the coil. It's going to make it tough to remove the Lyra. We could Discovery Dispersal this, but no. Angel time. No attacks. Well, now I have Dispersal available. Let's send in Lyra. Up to 11. Your move. Rahl. Rahl can -2 kill Lyra. How unfortunate. So do I want to bounce the Pteramander? I think I do. Rahl will get to untap and plus, which is really frustrating, but I don't have any say in that now.
I perfected the perfect storm. Golden lightning rod? Thanks.
All right. Deputy. I could take out the Rahl and not let my opponent see more cards. Them seeing cards, like, them getting to a Lava Coil is so critical right here. Deputy can also take out this. But I just have this weird feeling like you're going to see your top 2 cards. You're going to find the Lava Coil that's 3 down, whereas otherwise I could have 2 more turns with Lyra. But if I if I Deputy it, it just comes back anyway when the Deputy finally dies. It's so much better against Terramander. So we'll just play second Lyra here.
Just want to peek.
Cross your
The weight is
fingers.
killing me.
Don't let Rawl steal this game. Draw some bricks. That's not what happens when bricks are drawn. When bricks are drawn. When bricks are drawn. That is not how it goes. Right, let's erase some thoughts. Wow, they found another Lava Coil. All right. What's better? So, yeah, we'll Deputy this. I don't think Raw will minus to deal, and we'll draw the Contempt.
The search for the unknown. That's real science.
Land, bend, opt, the keep. What is the find? Bottom. Tense. There's the Drake. Oh, I was afraid of that. I was afraid of that. I mean, finding a threat is just as bad as finding a removal spell for the Deputy here. So that has to go. It's just lethal if it stays. Deputy has to check Raw.
Pain hurts. Well, let's see what the wind blows in.
Another Drake. Yep. It's all coming together. Well, we can bounce the Raw. That's not very good. Let's discover. Hostage Taker. Doesn't do it. We need another Deputy. Mortify doesn't do it. All right, game 3. I don't feel like I need many changes. I've got a lot of ways to kill Drakes, I just have to draw them. Seraph was pretty rough against Lava Coil. The idea is to tax the removal before that with other cards, but it's a lot harder too after board. Maybe Thopters aren't the worst things. I think I battle with this though. I still think it's the best configuration. It's a keepable hand. It doesn't have... We haven't seen Thief of Sanity in a long time, to be honest. Alright, let's get right in there. Always a Terramander on 1. Alright, Seraph. Let's get in there again. Second Terramander. Let's take the Drake. Deputy can take those out. Eldest is really good. And I'm going to trust that I will find another land. Alright. Like Teferi would say, let's slow this down. Enigma Drake. Okay, it's on. I'm going to try to steal a point of damage. They don't believe in Moment of Craving. Oh, fair enough. Here's a Seraph. You believe in that? Crackles. Just 1/4s. So we are going to Eldest Reborn. I think I should attack with Seraph first. Just see what they do. Drop a Drake, please. So we've got lots of value. What's the top of their deck doing? Are they drawing all those cantrips like they did the last 2 games when they needed them? Yes, they are. I mean, it is a lot of their deck. I'm not saying that's bad luck. I am saying I really needed a break from it. Oh my. And it finds Lava Coil so easily. So easily. God, do I wish I were playing Drakes. Alright. Think I hold this. There might be a better time for it. Just always are able to find it. Every card in their deck does better. Alright. And they bin another Discovery, which I think they mean to pump their Pteramander, and they do. How's Arc spell count? Not that high. So, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. We draw another Deputy. So, yeah. Crackles it is. We're down to 5 life. We have Consecrate Consume. We have Consecrate Consume. We can't play that and the Deputy, though. But we're going to gain life, so we can ignore a Pteramander for a hot minute. Let's get in that hand. See what card they kept. Oh yeah, baby. Consume you. Give me that Crackling Drake. See, we even wanted to do the Thought Erasure first, so it grew the Crackling Drake. And then we gained an extra life because we made it a 7. Yes, that's the top decks we're looking for. Opponent's still up for a race. We're at 7, they're at 14. We got Draw the Hostage Taker. Are you kidding me? It's our turn for the top decks. What a match we've had. But this one is swinging hard. One more turn for the opponent. We can grow this Pteramander. We have the spells in the graveyard to do it. The top card is a land. And it's over. Okay, now we're back to talk about the best of 1 version of this deck that I would run currently for ladder. We keep a lot of the same cards, but here are 3 cards I'm adding, and it's mostly to lower my curve and expect a more aggressive metagame. I don't think you need a huge departure from what the deck does. Also, you don't want too many single-colored spells, or the Hero of Precinct 1 loses its abilities. But I like the idea of getting in some cheap removal because Runaway Steamkin is no joke. And I like getting in a Lazav the Multifarious as a card to try. It can copy a Precinct 1, it can copy a Thief of Sanity. The abilities on Seraph the Scales are worth copying. It can copy a Lyra as well. So I'm willing to try that out. To make room, I trimmed 2 Discovery because I don't feel like I can spend my early turns casting a 2-mana sorcery that doesn't affect the board as often in an aggressive format like Best of 1. So I went down to 2 Discoveries. I'm hoping that Lazav having Surveil and Thought Erasure being Surveil, that we can still hit our land drops, which is a big concern for me anytime I'm playing a mid-range deck in Best of 1. And then we also cut 1 Dovin to make a little bit of room here as well. And we cut a Hostage Taker, all about lowering the curve and getting our cards in. The Hostage Taker actually was trimmed for the 4th Bell Haunt because I expect a lot of red and a lot less mid-range matchups, which is where Hostage Taker excels. Has a much harder time against, say, Nexus of Fate decks, and much harder time against red because often it's too slow and they can kill it. So this is the deck I'm going to try for best of one, and let's get out and play a few more games. So this hand has 2 deputies and a Bell Haunt. The mana isn't perfect. We need another blue, or not another blue. No, actually it is perfect. We can cast the Bell Haunt off this. We don't need double blue. We just need double white and double black, which we have. So deputies, you've got a job to do. We'll be pretty firmly on the back foot, which is exactly how it goes in this format. Most aggressive format I think I've ever been a part of in my life. I'll play this one just for the variety in mana colors. I might be in a situation where I need double blue somehow. All right, Steamkin's a big problem. A big problem. We're drawn back-to-back land when we really needed any kind of a playable 2-drop. No red spells. Oh boy. Well, on the bright side, I get to take 2 Steamkins. On the downside, they get 2 Steamkins back. But we're just buying time, right? Risk factor. Yeah, I'm taking it. That's pretty automatic. No blocks, I'm not risking a shock. And I get to keep your Steamkins? This exceeds my wildest dreams. Let's haunt you. Another land out of the hand. They had a land-heavy draw. I'm definitely going to get him for 1 with the deputy there. I'll pretty much never block with it. Yeah, take it. I have to. But very floody. Wow, the poor red mage. That's a lot of land. Mortify off the top. And their last card, I'm guessing, is a shock. I guess I can find out by attacking, although it would certainly block the deputy regardless. I could also deputy the lava runner. The opponent doesn't have 1 bolt. Although saving this to get the Steamkins back is probably much more important. And this can hit a frenzy. Yep, I don't think I'm going to fire a removal spell at the lava runner. Let's play Dovin. Let's gain a life and make Thopters.
It's hard to be a genius surrounded by lesser minds.
Alright, red deck, do you have the shock? If you do, that might be a good time to use it on Dovin, but we'll see. Wizard's Lightning. Get back my Steamkins. Not a shock. Alright. I suspected it might have been a bluff earlier. Face or Dovin? Dovin or face? Let's see, if both of these go at Dovin, it's like Dovin 8 4 damage, so let it be, let it be.
This outcome surprises even me.
Return of the Deputy. We are drawing a bit much land ourselves now. It's getting scary. The Bell Haunt holding back the lava runners seems nice. Can get in there with the Thopter. But the longer I wait, I feel like the worse things get. I will put up Mortify. There's not a lot of downside to doing so. Because eventually this will die. All we have to do is wait. Oh my. So, do I save this Deputy to take... Or do I try to turn this corner hard with these by also taking these lava runners? I think I try to take these lava runners. A lot of 4-0s in best of 1 format and in the aggressive decks. That's what makes Deputy such a potential blowout. Being able to remove 2 cards with 1 body. And they have seen enough. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Sorry that I kept it to just 1 best of 1 game. And the honest truth is I ran out of time, but you certainly have the best of 1 list there, and we had a sweet match in best of 3, so I think it will make a good video. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, remember to subscribe. Did you know that 66% of my viewers haven't subscribed to the channel? It really does help. It really helps me moving forward. Plus, you get to stay up to date on the latest videos. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. Mana necklaces have arrived at hauntedflower.com. These necklaces are a great way to show your favorite MTG colors. Remember to use the promo code CGB at checkout to save 10%. That is promo code CGB on hauntedflower.com.